And we're back. Sorry, sometimes I get excited. Welcome to the Foundation. It's great to be back. I am Sot L, Seeker of Truth L, Speaker of Truth L. And today's episode is Silver and Gold Confiscation, not with private trust. I was thinking about this. A couple days ago, I was asked a question. Basically this was the question. And I was wondering how I would present this, to the fam, to y'all, here in, the Foundation. So here it is. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to the Foundation, where we understand incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. So we are always correctly applying correct information. And that's what we do. We have a lot of things going on, especially with, silver, gold. If you haven't been paying attention, things that we've talked about here in the Foundation for years, literally, but some things don't seem real until it happens, So we're going to get into this, and then we have people who have foresight who are questioning the stability of their assets, the stability of their wealth, looking to make different moves. I think we're pre-FOMO or fear of missing out crowd, consumer, what they call it, Main Street investors, but I think it's getting close. So with that said, let's jump into the topic, not with private trust. And why would you say such a thing? Make sure you check out welcometothefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. At the minimum, por favor, that's please in Spanish. Spanish lessons. There's a key right here on the left pane. We got the little icons and stuff. We finally launched the full-fledged trustee training here on the Foundation, or welcometothefoundation.com. Currently offering 50% off the sign-up fee if you reach out to us via email, admin@welcometothefoundation.com, or support@welcometothefoundation.com. I know it's long. You got to type, you got to double check. It's ultimately nothing really happens by accident. And I think having that, that type of URL, welcometothefoundation.com, I can, at least kind of stay within natural law. Hey, nothing really happens by accident. But I know it's a long email, but I got you, and I believe in you. But 50% off the sign up. Everyone comes with a complimentary 60-minute consultation with me. Get you on track specifically with what you got going on, your specific situation. So you don't feel, like you're floundering, none of that stuff. But I'm telling you this now before I get into the episode. I'll say it again. I have a feeling that, this is going to, make a lot of light bulbs go off for a lot of people. Let's jump in here. And it's not current events. It's not. But it sort of is. Elon Musk warns of impact of record silver prices before China limits exports. This is going to happen tomorrow. This is December 31st, 2025. As you probably ain't, I can't say you are. While this is happening, while I'm recording this. So you'll see. We'll get back to, January 1st, tomorrow. I read on social media that Elon Musk tweeted about silver, and it was needed in a lot of processes with AI these days. Who knows if that was real? It's getting to the point. But a surge in the price of silver to record highs this month has prompted a warning from Elon Musk that manufacturers could suffer the consequences. Silver has risen sharply during December, part of the precious metals rally that also pushed gold and platinum to record levels on Boxing Day. Analysts have attributed the jump in prices to expectations of U.S. interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve in 2026, leading to increased demand for hard assets that protect against inflation and currency debasement. New restrictions on silver exports, right here, from China have created supply fears, while geopolitical worries have lifted demand for safe haven assets. We all can see the effects of inflation. A lot of people can argue the cause, and you can get into the weeds and real philosophical and hypothetical, but the effects are obvious. It takes more currency to get the same goods or services, same or similar. Some would say, well, AI it's new. How do you price AI? It's, what the market can maintain, what it can deal with. But ultimately, $100 at the grocery store does not get you the same amount of groceries that it did 5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. So this kind of pops the balloon, the fantasy with regards to fiat currencies, notes for a lot of people. Now, I think it's being kind of masked as more of industrial, but there's monetary considerations to take into play, take into notes, take into contemplation. This is De-Dollarize News. It's a website. The Gold Confiscation Playbook and Why Silver is Next in Line. This is not just me talking about confiscation of precious metals. It's not just this. There's people asking me. There's people writing op-eds with regards to the topic. We're talking about 1933. Americans didn't wake up to soldiers kicking down the doors. It was an executive order. Control versus confiscation. Why silver is more vulnerable than gold. Gold is mostly monetary. That's its strength and its protection. Silver is different. Silver is monetary and industrial. And that dual role makes it vastly more exposed to state intervention. Silver is embedded in energy systems, electronics, defense applications, and critical infrastructure. Without it, modern economies stall. That makes silver far more likely to be prioritized, stockpiled, and redirected away from private hands when shortages emerge. When governments face constraints that threaten grids, weapon systems, or industrial output, investor sentiment is irrelevant. And I would go so far as to say that, the common man and woman sentiment is irrelevant as well. It goes on to speak about, how the emergency justification writes itself, what 1933 really teaches modern investors, so on and so forth. This is obviously, from an investment standpoint, me specifically, it's the fact that it's being spoken on. What is this? This is what you call it, FX Street. So Forex, maybe foreign exchange, a perfect storm of policy supply and industrial demand. The great silver squeeze of 2026. This is what I wanted to talk about with this. China changes the rules and the global market shifts overnight, starting tomorrow. China is implementing new export restrictions on refined silver that are already sending shockwaves through the global markets. Under the new policy, only large state-approved companies, aka state-owned, will be allowed to export silver, and only after obtaining special government licenses. I think the most significant about this, y'all can find this, look it up, just do a search, man. They got AI in the search now. There's no excuse. With all due respect, I love y'all. China currently controls between 60% and 70% of the world's refined silver supply. Not raw silver, refined silver, like that 999 or 0.9999 or even, the 925. I'm sure, and even purities more reduced than 925, which is generally what jewelry is made out of, and silverware. Most people have never used silverware. That's another conversation. The next gold confiscation, what it could look like and how to avoid it. This is Doug Casey. And, a lot of people said Doug Casey, he's kind of, he's full of hot wind. But again, the fact that it's being spoken about by people with influence, by people who know markets, who know currency, who know history, it's something to pay attention to, especially when, I can distinctly 100% remember buying silver when it was $13 an ounce, buying silver when it was $10 an ounce. Distinctly in my mind. Because this was coming. This is Kitco news. This is Kitco. They buy and sell gold and silver, precious metals. So, hey. And then, this is an interview they did with, Zhang. I'm trying to get the whole name. I think it's Lynette. I'm pretty sure it's Lynette. She's talking about hyperinflation, the flurry of conflicting economic signals. The mechanism for hyperinflation is deflationary shock caused by mass adoption of corporate issue stablecoins under the new law. And she's talking about corporate issue stablecoins, and who knows if that's really going to take off, but we do know that the law was passed. We also know that, well, I know, I hope you know, because I think I'm pretty sure I did a show on it. It's the decashing of society. It was a white paper by the International Monetary Fund. You can look, you can search it right now. Decashing Society. International Monetary White Paper. It'll come up. I promise you. You'll find it. I read the thing. And specifically, the International Monetary Fund gave guidance on how to implement a digital currency system, and they explicitly stated not to do it with government mandate, to do it with merchants, to do it with financial institutions and large corporations. Like you're going to see Walmart coin, possibly. I don't know. The law doesn't say that this has to be done, from what I understand. And I could be wrong because I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an astrologer. What do I know? But the law didn't specify that it had to be done. It just opened the option for companies and, certain financial institutions to issue, stable coins. She also talks about gold and silver if you don't hold it. But she did speak about the ownership of U.S. debt. And I thought this was very, very interesting because at the core of the concern is the U.S. Treasury market, which she described as the foundation of the global markets. I don't know. It's not really looking like that, especially with BRICS now. But hey, moving forward, Zhang pointed to declining foreign ownership of U.S. debt, which is absolutely true. With the official data, which is probably skewed or, massaged. Let me massage that for you. With those numbers, let me massage those before. Let me stop. With official data showing a drop of over $300 billion in the last year, one year, as a sign of a private crisis among central banks where the traditional buyer base is just simply evaporating. That's China. Mainly, that's a lot of China. It's a lot of BRICS nations. India, China, Russia, of course. The lines are being drawn. But this is something to think about. When governments get into, financial, the first thing they do is look to the people. Is this true or not? Executive Order 6814, requiring the delivery of all silver to the United States for coinage. This is August 9th, 1934. A lot of people will be like, what? It was a gold confiscation. There was never a silver confiscation. Listen, I'm going to read this because, I don't know if you blame social media or this fake it till you make it culture. The keep it real culture is over. That's, they call me Unk nowadays. Keep it real. Y'all, get out of here with that Unk. But it's just, people just repeat what they read or what they hear without verification, substantiation, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Silver Purchase Act of 1934 and all other authority vested in me. I, Franklin D. Roosevelt, President of the United States of America, that's how you say United States of America, not the United States, do hereby require the delivery of all silver situated in the continental United States on the effective date hereof by any and all persons owning, possessing, or controlling any such silver, and do hereby require any and all persons. Whoa, did I just read that again there? Possessing or controlling any silver and deliver such, well, hold on. I lost my point. Well, where was I? I'm blind now. Require any and all persons owning, possessing, and controlling any such silver to deliver the same in the manner upon the conditions and subject to the exceptions herein contained, such action being in my judgment necessary to effectuate the policy of the Silver Purchase Act of 1934. Section 2. Silver required to be delivered. There shall be delivered in accordance with the terms of this order all silver situated in the continental United States on the effective date hereof, except silver falling within any of the following categories: silver coins, whether foreign or domestic; silver of a fineness of 0.8 or less; silver mined after December 21st, 1933. And this is where, a lot of these, what do they call them, numismatic coins come from. And I will tell you, the only coin designated numismatic by Congress is the American Eagle Gold and the American Eagle Silver coin. Do your research. Prove me wrong. I love to learn. I'm serious. I'm not one of them people to, attack you when I figure out I'm wrong. An honest man, when he learns he is mistaken, either ceases to be honest or ceases to be mistaken. I, consider myself the former. Just playing. The latter. Cease to be mistaken. So I like to learn. Prove me wrong. Show me a coin that Congress designated as numismatic. This was important because we're going to just drive this all the way home, right? This is from Cullen Law, and they're celebrating. Cullen Law established in court that federal regulations implicitly incorporate state substantive laws for interpretation, compliance, and enforcement purposes. Is a federal trust also a state trust? This is the important part. Where'd it go? I lost it. What happens when, I'm just playing, I didn't lose it. What happens when federal statutes or regulations use words without defining them? When courts confront this situation, they apply various interpretive tools to determine what the law's drafters intended and what the words mean. But sometimes the words at issue have a specific meaning in other legal contexts. And often those meanings and any corresponding legal consequences carry over. In those cases, affected persons can use state causes of actions to enforce those federal rules. In the immediate context, for the first time in 30 years, since the federal government promulgated these regulations, a court recognized that the duties of trustees in administering federally required trusts come from state law. That's what I wanted to point out. A lot of people don't understand this. And people will say, oh, It's a federal trust. It's a federal trust. Don't say that. Don't say that. If you don't study Supreme Court case law, these concepts are gonna go right over your head or below your knees, because specific use of terms and words, jurisdictions, matter. And I would say that I would go so far as to say this: the use of specific terms and words that haven't been ruled on. How about that? That haven't been brought before a supreme authority with regards to the United States Supreme Court. There's a Supreme Court in every state of the United States. They have a Supreme Court. U.S. Supreme Court. Doesn't matter. And this is where people get into problems when they're going around establishing trusts and not understanding law and jurisdiction. So federally required trusts come from state law. I'm sorry, federally required trusts come from state law, which was the duties come from state law. One of the biggest issues with trusts that I've seen people have dealt with problems is that there's big issues, large issues in the contract itself and in the language of the contract. And what people don't understand is you can have private everywhere, you can have irrevocable everywhere, you can have all types of stuff written in the contract. But it only takes one or two words within the contract or a single sentence, but really a couple words, that can invite state regulation, which is what we're looking to avoid. And any state regulation is not going to reach a federal court. And that's where the issue lies. The issue, and I'm not an attorney, right? Just flat out. Never would be an attorney. But the issue lies in not understanding jurisdiction, in my opinion, as a non-attorney. And when it comes to enforcement, which is what most people are looking for, people want the paperwork, you want the ideology, you want the step-by-step processes, but what you're really looking for is enforcement. And what you're really looking for is really simple, easy enforcement, like the fast food type enforcement, which I'm not knocking. And I'm not saying one way or the other. And I'm saying there are situations where that's what you're going to get is fast food enforcement, meaning it happens quick. You don't even know, you don't have to do much. But I would say 9 times out of 10, these are people who have structured trusts or assets that have very little value. So there's really no impetus. There's no value in going after these, Willy Wonky estates or trust instruments. But let's just say that, I don't know, you hit the lottery, you have a great idea, you start a business, I don't know, you find out that you are a baron's child and you have an inheritance. But the most likely of it is that you're going to be consistent and you're going to start a business. And with that consistency and dedication to that business, you're going to become successful in that business. And here's what the IRS and any, I would say, poacher, any barnacle, depends on your lack of instruction, knowledge, so on and so forth, because you spent all your time growing and running your business that you haven't spent any time on your education with regards to keeping what you gain from that business that you grew. And I see it all the time. See it all the time in real life. I see it all the time in, stories, third person stories. See it all the time in case decisions. Because people don't comprehend jurisdiction. So let me go back to this executive order, right? All persons. Where did it say? Where did it start? Do hereby require delivery situated in the continental United States. That's speaking about a specific jurisdiction. By any and all persons owning, possessing, or controlling any such silver. And most people would look at that and be like, wow, there's really no way out of that. But let me bring this is I love this document. This is one of the most beautiful documents that I've ever studied, read in my life. And people, that sounds corny. Okay, because you haven't studied it. This thing is magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. This is from govinfo.gov, govinfo.gov. It's got the authentication up here in the corner. Try to highlight it. I can't highlight it. Nope. Doesn't matter. I know you see it. Top left. Constitution of the United States of America. Article 1. You know where I'm going. Y'all know where I'm going. Did I go too far? I think I went too far. Nope. Too far. Where we go? Man, I'm lost in here. Section 8. Okay. Article 2. Yup, went too far. Found it. I don't edit. It's live. I don't edit, man. We're going to do this. No state shall, right? And then we'll stop there. And then we'll see this is a semicolon. So we're going to pick up right here. Pass any, right? Law impairing the obligation of contracts. This is why, right here, this is why there is so much case law, Internal Revenue Manual, instruction, definitions, and science. And this is why I think Congress, I'm pretty sure it was Congress. I got a lot of stuff up here. Congress organized a commission. They called them the Trust Busters. And they went around and they were just busting trusts, figuring out how to tax all these trusts. First record I saw was express trusts under the common law. I think it's a PDF. You can find it. It might be on, I'm pretty sure it's on the website, welcometothefoundation.com. But it was, someone out east, some guy in government out east was trying to figure out how to tax private trust, common law trust. And the guy came back and was basically like, there's no way we can do it. But they figured it out because, it's due to lack of instruction and education. But this right here. So if we have this and we understand jurisdiction, right? Pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts, right? And then people will be like, oh, but that's saying the states. That's why I showed you this. The duties of trustees administering federally required trusts come from state law. That's why I showed y'all that. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. So when we go back to this executive order, I will say this. When he says any and all persons, but prior to that, he described a jurisdiction, a properly crafted and executed contract trust falls without that jurisdiction. Outside of it. And that's the most, listen, listen, the best thing you can do is study. The best thing you can do is study. And not take my word for it, because I could be crazy. And I say that because it's true. It's absolutely true. You know, hey, who knows? But I also say that because I want you to do your own research as well. You know, I don't want you to take my word for it because I'm sitting here telling you that I might be crazy. I'm probably crazy. I'm crazy. I just figured it out. So please research, but there's 3 specific types of jurisdiction: territorial, subject matter, and personam. So territorial will deal with territorial jurisdiction. This is why this is a jurisdiction, the continental United States. In personam is talking about jurisdiction over the person. And subject matter would be right here, the property, or maybe more, thoughtful people would say the subject matter would be the attempted act of creating this order that would apply to such persons that fall without the general territorial description provided within this executive order. See, if you understand you can correctly apply correct information. What happens when federal statutes or regulations use words without defining them? When courts confront this situation, right? How many of you that listen to the show and probably like, yo, I like this show because my man drops jewels. Like he pretty much says a lot. I don't really need his training from his organization because I got my own. How many of you, and I'm not saying like this is the only place where you can get this information, but I'm saying how many of you have a definitions page or pages attached to your trust? It's a good question. And then hey, watch tomorrow, New Year's, there's going to be a whole bunch of trusts, private trusts that have definitions pages attached to them. Watch. Next week is going to be crazy. Printer's going. But these things, like there's things that you learn from years of studying, years of research, years of activity. Keyword. Activity, years, words, keywords, years of activity, but the keyword activity. There's things that you comprehend, that you understand. Now, what am I saying? I'm flat out saying a properly crafted and executed trust with properly instructed and educated trustees have nothing to worry about with regards to confiscation, gold confiscation, silver confiscation, property, nothing. Nothing. And am I the only one out here talking about trust? No. It's crazy. I be on Instagram. I scroll through Instagram. Man, there's so many people talking about trusts, selling education. It's crazy. Do you know how many crickets I would hear? 10 years ago, I started talking about trust and LLCs, man. It was crazy. But I like that. I really do like it. Because it adds, it adds substance, or, it adds to the conversation, whether positive or negative. It adds to the conversation. It brings awareness to this weird word that people call trust. That means so many different things, but it just means the same thing. 100%. Is there a silver confiscation coming? I think there is, honestly. I would say there is. I think that they got all the gold. They got all the gold. I think there's a silver confiscation coming. I don't know, but if it's going to be before or after you see companies mining straight up waste dumps, city dumps, landfills, using sophisticated equipment, mining trash heaps for silver and precious metals. China, the rare earth metals, now the silver, the gold, electronics, the demand for electronics is going nowhere. Tesla, Elon Musk knows. He's coming out and straight saying it, and he's coming out and saying it now because he can't. This is my opinion. What do I know? I'm crazy, but he's saying it now because he can, and the reason why he can is because silver hit all-time highs already. It already hit $85. Most people don't know that, and it's sold off. You know, people were taking profits. I'm sure they're trying to manipulate it. Who knows? But it's sold off again. But silver's gone, y'all. I suggest you start grab what you can, because I'm hearing people on news channels saying, you know, you can't buy it, but you can only sell it, and that's a crazy thing. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, welcome to thefoundation.com. You want to, sign up for trustee training, 50% off the sign up fee. Support at welcometothefoundation.com or admin at welcometothefoundation.com. We have to manually put you in the system. And I know people say that, we got to manually put you in the system, and they just filling out email. No, we really have a system. We have a whole back end. It's automated. You get your own account. You get your own login. You have your own dashboard. You can message support. It's pretty sophisticated. I'm actually kind of proud of it. So we do have a system. That's why you have to email us, because honestly, I didn't want to take the time or pay to program the system for what we're doing right now. I'm being sincere. But either way, you still get the same thing. Beyond silver, beyond gold, beyond precious metals, there's a protection and a respect that is afforded when you operate in trust. There's a respect that I'm given by policy enforcers when they pull me over and they say, "Is this your car?" And I say, "No, it belongs to the trust, and I am the trustee." There's a shift in energy. I'm not playing. Stuff changes. This stuff changes your life in little ways, in very large ways, in medium ways. It changes your life. And this is, one of my life's missions. This is my life passion, to teach y'all this, to help y'all get set up. So, with that being said, I trust y'all learned something. Y'all have a great new year. Happy New Year. Feliz Navidad. I trust it's going to be luxuriously gorgeous. From us here at the foundation to y'all, have a great new year. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. I'll catch y'all next year, y'all. Love you. Peace, peace.